completing step 2 of our tutorial. Now we're actually going to process a job for a customer. So some of you, hopefully most of you, have been enrolled and trained in the SAVE program, though I understand some of you are supervisors, possibly some administrators as well, and so you don't have a whole lot of visibility into what we're doing. But from a definition standpoint, a job is typically going to be anytime you're earning a rebate. Now, you can do jobs outside of the utility program, but a job is when your company would sell and install a furnace, air conditioner, heat pump, geo, and they're looking to earn a rebate for your customer for that job, okay? There are some utilities that have rebates for existing installations, performance tune-ups, or a retro commissioning type of job, duct sealing, okay? There are some related to new homes as well, new homes too. So typically anytime you're looking at a rebate, that's going to be a job in and of itself. So if you're selling a furnace and also an air conditioner, that's 2 different pieces of equipment, 2 different rebates, 2 different jobs. Now if it's a heat pump and it's going to work in either, it can work in both modes, heat or cool, that's only 1 rebate. You can test it in either mode. It's 1 job. And then, of course, you're welcome to use the software really outside the utility program. We have salespeople that use it to try to understand the conditions that they're faced with, that you're faced with ahead of time before the sale, so they can set proper expectations with the customers, possibly elevate the customer's confidence in them. We have people that do it on maintenance checks, biannual maintenance checks, and they're just sort of tracking performance over time. So there's other reasons as well. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and click on an existing customer record. So I'll click on, let's say, Tammy Homeowner. And now I'm into her. She's already been added to the system. In this case, she's already had a couple jobs run at her location here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Start a New Job. This is how I'm going to initiate the process. First thing we do is we name the job. Naming it is up to you. Most often it's the action or the activity that you're doing. A furnace install test, a sales call, something of that nature. We do have customers that use work order numbers and other individual identifiers. It's just one of those things when you look at that previous list, if you can imagine a series of jobs underneath each customer record, it's nice to be able to look at it and know what it is, okay? I'm going to do a furnace today, so I'm going to say a furnace install test, okay? The second thing is a job type. Now, a job type is our term, it's not yours, so it can be confusing. I would say it's probably the most often data entry error I come across. You have to think about what utility that you're operating in and what you're testing, okay? So if it's Alliant, Black Hills, Cedar Falls, Mid-American, you know you're in the area there. If you're outside of a utility program, it's going to be one of these down here. And then depending upon what you're testing, if I'm working in Alliant Energy and I'm looking to earn an equipment rebate, Alliant Energy Save Equipment Rebate. It is like it sounds. Same thing. I'm trying to test a piece of equipment, earn an equipment rebate from Mid-American, Mid-American Energy Save Equipment Rebate. Ditto at Black Hills, Cedar Falls, okay? Mid-American has some new home programs that test the total system performance, Energy Star, ABOP. So that system rebate, Mid-American Energy Saves System Rebate, you will typically only use that for new homes. And here pretty soon you'll see some stuff come up with Mid-American and their duct modification rebates as well. If you're operating outside the utility program and you're just looking to test the equipment performance, save equipment testing, total system, save system testing. You'll not want to use this quick check. It may not be available to you, but it's an old job type. We leave it there so people can view old jobs, okay? I'm going to select Alliant Energy Save Equipment Rebate. Okay, now you've got two questions that show up here. They don't, if you run it, the first time you run a job for a location, these questions won't be here, but the second, third, fourth time you will. Basically what you can do here, duplicate answers from a previous job. So you can go grab answers from another job in this customer that won't change, like elevations, model numbers, things of that nature. That's most often used if you do a furnace and an air conditioner and you're pulling in your model numbers and your elevation, things of that nature. Sometimes it's used if you make a mistake and you just don't want to type it all over again, okay? I'm going to skip that one. Duplicate room data from a previous job. And only the rarest of circumstances will you ever use this. We have a few contractors that, again, run these tests on service calls. They're tracking performance over time, and they just want to remember in which rooms that they gathered data, okay? We're going to hit Save and Continue at the bottom of that page, and then that's going to jump me right into a three-step process. One, homeowner information where I'm populating rebate forms. Two is the equipment and the rated specifications that I sold or otherwise is installed at this location. And three, what's happening out in the field, okay? I'm going to, for this tutorial, I'm going to do 1 and 2 and 3, and then that'll be the end, okay? We go ahead and hit Start. We pick the date. We pick the utility for the electric, utility for the gas. I know we already selected a job type, but Iowa does have split markets out there where one utility may be electric, one utility may be gas. Dealer name, dealer ID. So this is for Alliant only. It won't even be asked with the other utilities, but it's whatever your dealer ID is if you're a member of that program. Homeowner's account number, notice this is black, the rest are red. Black is optional, okay? We're going to skip over that. Homeowner's name, year the house was built, residential building type, tax status, heating equipment type, furnace, what I charge them for the furnace, cooling equipment type. Let's say in this particular case I did sell both a furnace and an air conditioner. And then is the rebate check mailing address the same as the customer? So if you wanted the rebate check mailed to a different address, you would enter no here, and the next page would prompt you for that address. I'm going to say yes. I hit Save and Continue. Now, most of these utilities will also have programmable thermostat rebates. So if I answered yes to this, it would ask me for things like model numbers, manufacturer, how many, price. I'm going to say no just to save us a little bit of time. I hit Save and Continue. Same thing on the water heater. I hit Save and Continue. Then I'll hit a page that says Complete. That means I completed this step. I'll hit this Save and Continue button. Automatically bumps me to Step 2. This is a very important point. It's just like paying bills online. It won't finish the job until you hit all the buttons. So you want to make sure that you hit all Save and Continues all the time, and it will just continue to send you to the right next step. Okay? My equipment information. I'm going to say furnace. My furnace manufacturer, if it's on this list, which we do intend to add to shortly. If it's not, you can click on none of the above and type it in here, okay? model number, serial number, AFUE, AHRI number, rated input, rated output, blower type, and then the furnace rated total external static pressure. All of this information will come right off the specs, right from your supply house. Blower tons, efficient fan motor, I'll say no. Okay, so a couple points here on this I want to make with furnaces. Some of these questions you'll find that they'll have entry validation in it, so if you typed in a bad number, it'll tell you right now, way ahead of time before you get to the end, okay? So you got to make sure that you're entering good stuff here. HRI number. If this is if I'm actually doing a furnace here, but if I actually sold an air conditioner, it's going to ask me, and that's all I sold, it's still going to ask me for furnace information because that's the air handling unit. That's what's in the cold air. It's basically blowing the cold air. And so, you know, your startup professional, your service tech, as well as the utility verifier will need to verify that CFM number. So, and it has to be a real number. So you always have to enter furnace stuff when you're doing an air conditioner. Not necessarily the other way around, but you have to. AHRI number for like an existing furnace out there, you can just type in existing system. The rest of this stuff you'll need to gather. I guess serial number, you could type in existing system here too. Okay? The best way to approach this, by the way, if you're only doing an AC changeout, is have your sales guy gather all the information on the existing stuff that's out there. He can write it down. He can take a picture with his iPhone, whatever. But in the event of a successful sale, then you and the installer now have all the information that you need to be prepared and to be successful. Final point here. We get a lot of questions on efficient fan motor. So there is a rebate for an efficient fan motor. One of our utilities, Mid-American Energy, requires a spec for it to qualify. The others is just a yes or no question. So if we're answering yes here, you have to go to the get the CEE air handling ratio. Okay, you can get that from CEE. You can type in Google CEE air handling ratios, and it'll get you there. It's the Consortium for Energy Efficiency. Or up here, I'll show you later, but in the Document Center, which I mentioned on the first tutorial, we uploaded a document in there that you can use as well. Okay? So you can always leave the 0 in there, and the system will accept it. So I'm going to say no, leave the 0 in there, I'm good to go. Air conditioner information. So or my cooling information. I'm going to say air conditioner. I understand I'm just trying to earn a rebate on a furnace, but there's still an air conditioner there, and there's still static pressure across that coil. Okay? So we want to gather that information too. Serial number, outdoor tons, SEER rating, AHRI, EER rating. By the way, you can always look at these little question marks, and it'll give you a little hints on where to go, okay? AHRI number, rated cooling total BTUs right off the HRI certificate. Rated cooling partial. So if it's a 2-stage, you'll have a partial here. If it's not, you'll leave that 0 in there, okay? And the coil manufacturer. save and continue. You'll notice now I'm done with the second step. I hit save and continue. Everything's fully saved. I'm right on my third and final step. This is the step that is current conditions, that is information from the field. Okay, so this is what will come in the field. This is typically where the installation or service tech enters this process and begins to be a part of this process. I'll hit start. The save technician's name, certification number, date, time we started, altitude. Just go ahead and pull that off of Google. If you're in Red Oak, Iowa, type in Red Oak elevation and use that forever. All it has to do is be in the neighborhood. The outdoor temp for today. What area of the house does this system serve? What am I testing? Am I testing heating mode or cooling mode? I mentioned earlier I'm going to do a furnace today, so that's obviously going to be heating mode. I hit save and continue. What type of test? The Iowa Utility Program only offers one type, so that'll be easy to answer. What type of heating equipment are you testing? Well, we know we're going to test a furnace today in heat mode. I hit save and continue. Is the indoor coil external to the air moving equipment? Meaning, did you, the customer, add the coil, or perhaps was it factory installed? If it's external, which is most often the case, I would say yes, and hit save and continue. And now the fan speed setting, okay? The fan speed setting is going to be how it's reflected on the manufacturer blower charts. So that can vary. The most common is high, medium, low, or low. So we give those as options. But if it's reflected differently than that, like Train uses color coding and then you have variable speed where you have dip switch settings, you'd enter none of the above and you'd enter that, okay? Blue or whatever the tap settings are, on, off, on, okay? Is the filter external to the air moving equipment? Did I, the contractor, add the filter? Or was it factory installed? I will say yes, I added it. I hit save and continue, okay? Now I'm going to make a comment here. In the first tutorial, I talked about the startup sheets where people like to write stuff down on paper, and a lot, probably about half of you will use those, half of you won't. If you're an administrator and you haven't gone through the SAVE program, or if you're a supervisor and haven't gone through the SAVE program, right now you're trying to figure out, how am I going to get this information? At this point of the process, it all comes from the field. If your guys are using them out in the field, which is recommended highly so that they know what's going on, then they will be entering it. If they're bringing it back in paper on these startup sheets that are available through the Document Center, they will line up to these questions. So they'll hand you a startup sheet, and the sequence of questions that you're working through here on the software will follow the exact sequence on those startup sheets that we make available to you, okay? All right. My filter entering pressure, my before filter static, I'll say 0.08. My filter exiting static pressure, I'll say 0.23. My equipment entering, that's oftentimes going to be the same thing unless there's ductwork in between the filter and the equipment. My equipment exiting pressure, I'm sorry, I'm going to actually make these different. I'm following my own startup sheet that you don't see right now. So I corrected a data entry error there. Get these static pressures down to hundredths. Okay, don't take them to tenths. That's not going to be accurate enough. So my equipment exiting 0.23, my coil entering, which is, again, oftentimes going to be the same unless there's ductwork in between the coil and the equipment. and then my coil exiting pressure, 0.11. Okay, my equipment return dry bulb, all right, 69.83 degrees. Get your temperatures at least down to 1/10 of a degree, hundredths or even better. If you round up on the high end and round down on the low end, if you, let's get her down to 1/10 of a degree. I don't know why that entry validation was looking for something different. I'll have to look at that, but we'll get it there. But my point being is if you round up on the high end and round up down the low end, it could be 2%. It may be the difference between a pass or a fail. So make sure you get it down to 1/10 of a degree. Okay, the blower chart, the manufacturer's fan table, CFM, right off the manufacturer's blower chart. Has to be a real number from the manufacturer. The utility will be looking at that. Again, if it's an AC only, you got to go get the blower chart on that existing furnace. All right? You do, if you have the ability to traverse and measure airflow, that's fine, but it's got to be one or the other. Okay, now my room temps. I'll just pick my rooms. Okay, I'm going to do my return grill number 2, I'm going to do 70.2. For my return grill location number 3, I'm going to leave, I'm not going to do this one, I'm going to leave the 0 in there. So you may run into situations where you've got a central return, or you've only got 2 return grills. That's okay. We have these default zeros in there. Just leave that 0 in there, okay? All right, now 3 supply registers. You're always going to have that. Plan location number 3. Okay, so this is a gas meter, or this is a gas furnace, so they're clocking the gas meter out there. We highly recommend a 2-foot meter. They'll be clocking it, you know, turn off all your other, you know, make sure that furnace is up and running for 15 minutes, make sure it's locked in on high fire, turn off all other gas-fired appliances, and then clock it. And we like you to use a 2-foot meter. We like you to use an accurate stopwatch like something on your phone to get a real number. We like you to go around 3 times, divide that number by 3 for the seconds for 1 turn, okay? And then your finish time. I hit save and continue. I hit save and continue. And now I'm all done, and I'm to my reports. And that will be the purpose of our next tutorial, okay? Couple points here. We did a furnace heat mode. So if you do an air conditioner in cool mode or a heat pump, most of the only differences are really going to be on that last page, okay, of the 3rd step. So in the case of cool mode, you'll be gathering relative humidity readings in addition to dry bulbs. That way you're going to take into account the moisture in the air. That cool mode testing will take an extra 15 minutes. It can only be done in the warmer months when the manufacturer says you can start it up and get a latent load on it, okay? The other difference with an air conditioner is you won't be clocking a gas meter. It's going to be asking you for current cooling capacity. That number is your manufacturer rating, not your AHRI rating. You will get that from the manufacturer, and they will tell you what the capacity of that air conditioner is based upon today's outdoor temperature and your entering wet bulb. And it'll also give you a sensible to total ratio, so if in the event that you need to troubleshoot, you'll have the information from the manufacturer, okay? And then the final step is you can always click on these tabs if you need to change something. Just click on the tab, go down here to restart, you hit restart. Your information will always be saved. It will be saved forever unless you type over it. But if you hit this restart, then you can change it, hit save and continue all the way through, and everything will be fully edited and changed. Okay, thank you very much.